This is Xiaomi's Redmi Note 4, the successor to the super popular Redmi Note 3 Pro. So what has changed in the new model? The Snapdragon 650 chipset is now gone. That has been replaced with a MediaTek Helio X20 CPU. Now that's a deca-core CPU with Mali T880 graphics. It has up to 3 GB of RAM and up to 64 GB of internal storage, which can be expanded via a micro SD card. You'll see now that the design is very similar to the Redmi Pro with a new housing, and the rear camera has been downgraded from 16 megapixels from the Redmi Note 3 Pro down to 13. So let's have a look at the mobile in greater detail. So the front of the device has scratch-resistant glass. It has 2.5D edges, a front-facing 5 megapixel camera, and hardware navigation buttons. Volume up and down and power button. Now these are made out of metal. And what looks like 2 loudspeakers is in fact just one loudspeaker, microphone, and micro USB 2 port. Unfortunately, no Type-C like the Redmi Pro. Left side, the dual SIM tray. On the top, a 3.5mm headphone jack, IR blaster, and secondary microphone for noise cancellation and video. Rear fingerprint reader, dual tone LED flash, and a 13 megapixel camera. The screen that Xiaomi used is a very decent 1080p display. It has very vibrant, nice colors on it, and stands out as being one of the better 1080p panels that you'll find in a mobile of this price range. Out of the box came with MIUI 7.5. Now I was able to update that with the over-the-air update system. I'm now running MIUI 8, and that promises quite a few improvements. Now you see a simplistic look of the icons, and you'll notice that there's no apps drawer. So you have widgets and icons for your apps all in there, all together. If you don't like that, you can install Apex or Nova Launcher. Now the performance of it is very good. It's quick, it's fast. I haven't had any problems. Free memory, I get about 1.2 gigabytes on first boot. Now this is the 2 gigabytes of RAM version, and I only have 16 gigabytes of storage on my one, but you can get other models which support 32 and 64 gigabytes of internal storage there, and it does support things like tap to wake too. Now MIUI 8 actually brings some new features. One of the interesting ones is dual apps, and what you can do, because we have dual SIMs in here, you could have 2 different phone numbers and run 2 different WhatsApp accounts. So that's quite handy. So what looks like 2 speakers is in fact just one. We have a speaker here and a microphone. Let's have a listen to how loud it sounds. Battery life, one of the most important things in a mobile phone. Luckily, this one's got a really good battery life. Now, 9 hours and 17 minutes. This is the PC Mark result with the display calibrated to exactly 200 nits of brightness there. Now, you're probably thinking, is this actually better or is it worse than the Note 3 Pro? And in fact, it's about 1 hour less. Well, the Note 3 Pro in my testing got 10 hours and 16 minutes, so it's an hour and 1 minute difference there. But you do get some extra performance out of the MediaTek Helio X20 with the 10 cores. And then you'll see the finer details there. The work performance score of just over 5,000 is not a bad score. That is, I had the mobile network signal was in the green most of the time. Wireless was on. You see the screen on and awake. And finally, the screen on time, 7 hours and 23 minutes. Isn't bad. Now remember, that is continual time on there. So I think it's safe to say you're going to get about 2 to 3 days with medium use out of this mobile, which is really good. Now to quickly go through the benchmarks that I like to run on these devices. I know some people don't agree with benchmarks. It's more in how snappy the operating system is and how it performs in real world use. But this still is a good way to gauge, I feel, the performance of mobiles and tablets. That's the internal storage speeds there. You can see that that's not really the fastest, but it's not too bad for a mobile phone. And here, this is the Epic Citadel score, almost 60 frames. Well, 54 frames per second on the ultra high quality setting. Ice Storm Extreme, that's 3D Mark, that was maxed out. Slingshot ES 3.1 and Ice Storm Unlimited. Now on to Antutu. Now this is faster than the Redmi Note 3 Pro, which got 78,000 in my tests. So it's about 10,000 more, which isn't really a lot, but it is faster slightly. And Geekbench for the newer version. You see on the multi-core comparison, it gets quite a good result. That's because it does have 10 cores there and the single core score there. No issues with wireless or 3G and 4G download speeds. You can see here it's performing quite well. And the rear fingerprint reader, that works fine. No need to even wake the device. All you need to simply do is just place your finger on the back and it will unlock, and it seems to work about 9 out of 10 times. GPS performance is very good. It gets a quick lock and I did not lose my position driving around town at all. So the camera is only a 13 megapixel one and it can shoot up to 1080p. It does have phase detection autofocus. And if I quickly show you the camera mode here, there's a few modes. Just quickly bring those up there for you. And now the shutter rate isn't too bad in good lighting conditions, and the photo quality I found to be quite disappointing and worse than the Note 3 Pro. So here's a few samples. Now it does have software stabilization. I have enabled that just to show you what it's like. So here I'm walking along and it does a reasonably good job considering we don't have optical image stabilization. And there are some focus issues. You'll notice that it does seem to pulse in and out like that just then. Here's a front camera sample, so it's got a 5 megapixel camera with an aperture of 2.0, again like the rear camera, and can record at 720p maximum. And a low light video sample. You can see the frame rate suffers quite a bit, it dips right down, struggling with these conditions. Now for you gamers out there, so 10 cores, does that help gaming? Well, not really, because it's the GPU that does most of the work. And you'll find that the Mali T880 MP4 isn't the most powerful GPU, but it can still handle demanding games with high visual settings at 1080p without a problem. You'll see the odd micro stutter, but you'll be getting at least 30 frames per second in every game out there. So gaming performance is good. No problems. If you'd like to see more gaming, check out my gaming review of the Redmi Note 4. Now to quickly recap, the screen's great, a very nice 1080p screen. It's one of the best I'd say for the price. And speaking of price, it's $160 US for the base model, at least at the time of this review, which is very cheap. The battery life is good. Okay, it's about an hour less in PC Mark than the Redmi Note 3 Pro. Performance of it, it can play all the latest games. You get smooth frame rates. Okay, there might be a tiny little micro stutter here and there, but it is really quite good. And the camera performance is a huge letdown. I don't like the camera on it at all, really. I think it takes quite a poor shot. Very poor post-processing. It tends to over-sharpen. The contrast is wrong. There's very little dynamic range. So do not buy this mobile for the camera. Buy it for the good screen, for the battery life, the nice build, good audio quality. And the other thing, should Redmi Note 3 Pro owners upgrade to this one? Well, honestly, I don't really think it is worth it. Sure, it's a little bit faster, but you do lose a tiny little bit of battery life there. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you did like it and you haven't already, why not think about subscribing for more reviews just like this one? And hopefully I will see you back at the channel sometime soon. Bye for now.